I remember the moment I first realized something was wrong. Not in the way you'd expect, not with shouting or a slammed door, but in the quiet way the world starts to feel slightly off. It began with a text. I had asked her where she was going that evening, expecting the usual routine, dinner with friends, late at the office, something mundane. Instead, her reply came hours later, and it was oddly vague. Out for a bit, don't wait up. I stared at the screen for a long time, my thumb hovering over the keyboard. I didn't want to seem paranoid. I wanted to trust her. But trust, as I learned that night, is fragile. The evening started with subtle hints. Missed calls. A phone left face down on the counter. Laughter that didn't reach her eyes when she said she'd been at a new cafe. I wanted to believe her, I truly did. I told myself I was overthinking, that my imagination was playing tricks. Maybe it was. Maybe it wasn't. I remember the smell of rain on the city streets as I walked aimlessly, trying to clear my head. I couldn't stop thinking about her. About that inexplicable tightness in my chest every time her name appeared on my phone. There was a pattern emerging, small, innocuous at first, but patterns once noticed can't be unseen. And then the restaurant. I had chosen it myself months ago, for its cozy corner tables and low amber lighting. It was where we had celebrated our first anniversary, laughing until our stomachs ached, clinking glasses of cheap champagne like we had all the time in the world. That memory stung now because I knew she would never feel that with me again. I walked in, thinking maybe I'd catch a glimpse of her in some ordinary, innocent scenario. A friend she hadn't mentioned, a last-minute work dinner. And then I saw him. He was across the room, leaning close, speaking in that low, intimate tone that makes the skin crawl when it's not meant for you. And she was laughing, tilting her head, her hand brushing against his. The world slowed. My heart beat in a rhythm I didn't recognize, a mix of rage, disbelief, and grief. I thought about storming over, about making a scene, about demanding an explanation in front of everyone. But something in me froze. Instead, I watched, rooted to the spot, as they shared the kind of intimacy that had once belonged to me. The betrayal didn't come with a bang. It came with a whisper, a glance, a touch that should have been mine. My mind raced through every lie, every small misdirection that now made sense. The canceled plans she swore she couldn't keep, the late nights she needed for work. The texts I never got to see because she always had her phone on silent. The puzzle pieces fell into place too easily, painfully so. I remember sitting down at a table nearby, my hands trembling around my untouched glass of wine. She caught my eye for a split second. Recognition flashed across her face, a fraction of guilt before she looked away. I wanted to scream, to confront, to beg for a reason. Instead, I wrote a note, short, deliberate, final. I see you. I'm leaving. I slid it onto the table near her, my hands shaking too much to make it neat. Then I walked out, past the hum of the restaurant, past the laughter that used to mean something to me, past her and him as if I were invisible. Outside, the rain had stopped. The air smelled of wet asphalt and lost time. I wanted to hate her, to hate him, to hate everything that had led me here. But what I felt was heavier than hate. It was the slow, suffocating grief of realizing that someone you trusted more than yourself could look at another person and smile in the same way they once smiled at you. For days, I replayed that night in my head. Every memory, every shared joke, every late-night conversation suddenly carried a tinge of betrayal. Even the mundane became suspect. The way she used to make coffee for me, the way she'd brush my hair from my forehead. Those small acts of love, once comforting, now felt like clever disguises, camouflage for something deeper and crueler. I won't lie, I loved her still. Part of me always will. But love doesn't erase betrayal. And it doesn't repair the cracks in trust that she shattered with her choices. What remained was something quieter, something resolute. The understanding that I deserved better, that my self-respect mattered more than any fleeting connection built on lies. I never went back to that restaurant. I never wanted to see them together again. But I carry that night with me. Not as a wound that festers, but as a lesson that sometimes love isn't enough, and sometimes the hardest thing to do is to walk away while the heart still aches. I learned, in the most painful way possible, that endings are not always loud. Sometimes they're a note left on a table, a silent departure into the night, and the quiet courage it takes to reclaim your own life. Point 6.